Hello, and welcome to my channel, In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne, and these are my weekly wonderings and wanderings. This is a Saturday, the start of my weekly vlog, and this morning my husband and I went and were vendors. Well, really it was me, he was just there to help me out, at a craft show, and I had items from my Etsy shop there for sale. It was pretty successful, so I'm glad I did that. And now I am home and trying to get a few things done before we head out to go see an opera. So my weekend is starting off with a bang. And this weekly segment is starting off with a great deal of fun. I currently am trying to maximize my time. So the few hours that I'm home, I made a pumpkin pie and it's currently in the oven, which is why I am in my kitchen and filming here. It's not my usual spot. And I'm just keeping an eye on the pie. I love to make pies from scratch this time of year. I don't know, some years back, for some reason, I just got this bee in my bonnet that I was determined to master the art of making pie pastry. I don't even know why. I think I bought like a vintage cookbook or something, and it had recipes in it for different kinds of pie pastry. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna master one of these. And so I did. And so I love making pies this time of year. I don't really make it otherwise, but I look forward to it in Thanksgiving and Christmas time. Anyway, and I also love to buy pumpkins at farmer's market or Trader Joe's if I can't get to a farmer's market, and bake up pie pumpkins as well. So it's a pumpkin pie from scratch, and I'm going to bring it tomorrow to the Thanksgiving feast that we have every year at church. That is what I am currently doing. As far as reading goes, what have I got on my plate this week? Basically the same as last week. Hopefully I'll move more quickly through these than I did last week, because last week was like nothing. Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. And okay, this last chapter that I just read today, I was on the verge of tears for most of it. So the annotations in this book informed me that prior to this point in the book, prior to the chapter that I read today, Charlotte Bronte had been working on her book, but then it paused. And I knew this, I knew that she had been in the middle of it, but I didn't know like where in the book she was. Her work on this book got paused because her brother passed away, and then her sister Emily passed away, and then finally her sister Anne passed away, all within the space of a year. And it was a terrible time in Charlotte Bronte's life. And understandably, all of her work on her book ceased. And I don't know how long it took her to get back into it, but when she finally got back into it, the chapter that she wrote, she titled it The Valley of the Shadow of Death. And she kind of puts our main character through the ringer here a little bit as far as her health goes. But it also serves as an impetus for a plot twist in the story. And I think from this point to the end of the book, like the action is going to probably accelerate, I'm thinking, a little bit, and we're getting closer to the conclusions. I'm more than 2/3 of the way through the story, so I'm looking forward to seeing how things wrap up. I am also reading Northanger Abbey, not quite halfway through that one yet, and I want to move a little more quickly through that one because I definitely want to be finished it this week by the end of November. We'll see if I'm able to do that or not. And I'm also, I've read a few chapters in A Love Restored by Kelly Goshorn, and I do want to finish that. Well, I mean, Normally, a historical romance novel like that, you know, would take me like a day or two to read. But just because life has been crazy of late, I haven't been able to give some time to it. But I should have more time this coming week because I'm off of work and it's a holiday week and I do have things on my schedule and responsibilities and housework that needs to be done and that sort of stuff. But I should still have definitely more time to read than I've had lately. So I should get something done. I hope, goodness gracious. Anyway, so I'm hoping to finish Northanger Abbey and definitely A Love Restored this week. And I probably then will just read something fun, maybe from my stack of must-reads that I put in the bucket list reading challenge by Danny Dowles. You're supposed to choose 15 must-read books. And if you land on the must-read pile, then you choose one of those. But I can also choose from those for any of the other prompts as well. Of course, you can choose anything for the prompts, as long as the way I'm doing it is from your TBR. So I probably will pick up one of those and like roll the dice and see where I get in the Danny Dowles and pick something from there. Those are my reading plans this week. I don't think I will get any further than that. I will be coming up with my December reading plans, and that should be my video this coming week, I hope. Looking forward, I did want to tell you that on December 15th, Monday evening, Charlene and I will be hosting a Jane Austen birthday party, and you are invited. We are making some fun plans, like maybe a trivia game, maybe a giveaway, maybe something like that. So be sure to pop in during the event Monday, December 15th in the evening, probably 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be so much fun. So I am really looking forward to that. Little pause in the middle of all the Christmas crazy and take a moment to celebrate our favorite author. Okay, my favorite author. So that's what I've got going on. Present, recent past, and coming up in the future. I will film another update later on this week as I feel like it. That's how this works. Okay, I'll see you in the next clip. Monday morning, and I am savoring my $47 coffee. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's in last week's reading vlog. It is very good, although this morning I made the coffee, and the first cup that I poured, I pulled some cream from the refrigerator, and I was like, oh, this needs to be used up, you know, did a little sniff, and it seemed fine. So I used it. It wasn't fine. And the first sip of my coffee, I was, what is this? Yeah, it was bad cream. That's what it was. So yeah, wasted that cup. That was a little bit painful to pour down the drain, but this one is really good. So on Saturday, we went to the opera, I can never say it the first time, La Cenerentola, and really enjoyed it. It was produced by the Virginia Opera Company, and I think they're based in Richmond, I want to say, but they frequently do their shows at George Mason. It was all very good. My only complaint was okay, I guess I have two. One of the two stepsisters, Clorinda, she had a very strong, powerful soprano voice, and it was a lovely voice. I have no complaints about the voice itself. It's just that literally in any ensemble or group of more than one person singing, she very much overpowered the rest of them. When the whole entire ensemble was singing, you could still hear her voice. And that wasn't bad because it was a very male dominant cast. So there were only 3 females in the whole cast. So, and she was like the main soprano, like she was the soprano. So in that, like in large ensembles, I can see why you would need to have a very powerful one. But when it was in smaller groupings, like the 3 women singing together, she was overpowering all 3 of them, including Cinderella herself. So that balance was a little bit off, but that was a small thing. There was one scene, like, La Cenerentola is a comedic opera, so it is funny, and different productions will play off of the humor in a different way and just, you know, play with it and have fun. In this particular one, it was just a little out of place and just a little bit silly, but it also, like, I couldn't help laughing because it was funny. There's a scene where the prince is going in search of Cinderella, and so he's like racing all over, you know, before he ends up at her house. But they chose to depict that by him riding this scooter, which, according to my husband, I know none of these things, was not even European, let alone Italian. So he's riding this, you know, ancient scooter. And meanwhile, all the time that they talk about conveyances in this opera, they're talking about carriages and coaches. Anyway, so he's on this scooter, and like the scooter is stationary, but you know, like they're acting like it's moving. And then the chorus from the cast, like the members of the chorus, which is again all male, like they're doing, like they're holding spray bottles, like, you know, the dollar store spray bottles of water to create like it's misting and raining because it sounds like there's a storm. The music sounds like there's a storm. And so then they put up their umbrellas, and then they almost run over a dog, like somebody's pretending they're walking a dog, and they almost run over the dog. And like this, anyway, it was just like, what is the word? Anyway, slapstick, a kind of slapstick, silly. And it was a funny scene, but it seemed a little out of place with the rest of the staging and production, which was very traditional and stuck to the original ideas of the opera. Like it wasn't, except for at that scene, it didn't really go outside the norm of productions of this opera. Like it wasn't otherwise pushing the boundaries anywhere. So that was a little bit out of place, although it was admittedly quite funny. The way they did it, it was well acted and everything was funny. It just seemed out of place with the rest of the opera. So anyway, that's my brief review. I enjoy it. La Cenerentola is an excellent opera for the whole family, unlike most operas which have a lot of things going on, very adult themes. So they're definitely designed with adults in mind. 99% of the time, there are a handful of children-friendly operas, and that is one of them. And it's also funny and enjoyed by adults as well. So highly recommend, if there's ever a production in your area, to go see it. And I enjoyed it. So yesterday at church, we had our annual Thanksgiving feast, which is always a wonderful fun. And we always look forward to it. Had a great time there. And today I am mostly just relaxing at home. My goal was just to read and relax kind of all day long, but there's definitely some housework that needs to be done. So we'll see if I can strike that balance. And I plan to do some reading. I'm really in a mood to finish Northanger Abbey because I'm more than halfway through at this point. She's at actual Northanger Abbey with the Tilneys, and so there's not a great deal left in the story. So I'm just in the mood to read through that one and finish that one up. So maybe I'll be able to do that today. That would be awesome. And then like really be able to pick up A Love Restored, which is the final book on my must-reads list for November. And if I can get both of those done earlier this week, that might give me some time towards the end of the week to pick up something else. We'll see. I'm not trying to meet any goals or do anything. I'm just, other than like, I want to read the books that I specifically plan to read this month, but I'm almost done with that. Other than that, I'm not trying to like read all the books or, finish a list or whatever. I'm just kind of taking the books as they come and enjoying them. So that is my little clip for today and what I've got going on. So I will update you maybe later today if I manage to actually get some good reading done. My relaxing day is winding down and I'm already thinking about all the things I need to do tomorrow. It's going to be a wonderful day. But I finished reading Northanger Abbey, which is what, of the 3 books that I had in process, this was the one that was pulling me the most. So I finished reading this and I love it. I love Catherine's naivety and just the sweet wholesomeness of the whole story. All the way through, Austen is poking fun at Gothic novels, while also kind of at the same time celebrating them and celebrating novel reading in general. In some ways, it can be seen as very different from her other books. There are some stark differences, aspects that are in this book that are in any of her other works. However, her overarching style and purpose is still there, in which she's very intentional about writing about real, okay, not actual people, but realistic people, characters that you feel like you could know, who go through normal everyday things. That's what she's doing. She's taking the ridiculousness and the unbelievability of a Gothic novel and turning it on its head and saying, okay, this is more realistic for what an actual 17-year-old girl might live through in this day and age and in this place we're living in now. The result is, a very genuine feeling story. It's also, I think I have mentioned this before, but it was a really interesting juxtaposition to me that the last book I read by Austen was Persuasion, and then this one, Northanger Abbey, and Catherine and Anne could not feel more different as characters, and the tone of the books could not feel more different. Persuasion is very much more mature in every aspect about it, in the writing style, in the issues the characters are dealing with, in the emotions, in the way the emotions are handled, all of it. It's a very mature story. It's much more like women's fiction even than romance or whatever, or maybe it's a family saga, but it's very heartfelt, it's very sincere, it's very real, which Northanger Abbey also is, but it's also very mature. Northanger Abbey reads like YA a little bit. It's It has a light touch. It's tackling real things, but real 17-year-old things. And Henry Tilney himself is a very mature character, but he's also he's there maybe 25% of the time, like most of Austen's heroes. So he doesn't pervade the story. And the things that Catherine learns as the heroine of the story, and the emotions that she experiences, and her innocence and her naivety, they're all very much on par with a 17-year-old girl experiencing the world for the first time. And it's a very realistic YA sort of novel. So we have Austen running the whole gamut here of the experience of a woman's life. And, okay, not quite the whole gamut, but, getting close. And it's really interesting how deftly she can do all of it. And so I really enjoyed Northanger Abbey. And it's kind of sad to have finished all of Jane Austen's novels. It's kind of amazing that I read all of them in 1 year. I've never done that before. Still have Lady Susan potentially to read, but I've read all of 6 of her main novels, plus the books that inspired them in some cases, like having read The Mysteries of Udolpho just prior to reading this one, which I'm glad I had, because there were a lot of mentions and references to it, and I know exactly what she was talking about this time. So that was good. I will have to do a ranking video here soon about my thoughts. Actually, I think that might be later this week when you are watching this. I think will be my midweek video, ranking all the Austen novels, in my opinion, where they are. That's going to be really hard to do, though. Really hard. I'll have to think about that carefully. But anyways, right now I'm starting to work on my reading journal with the reading challenges that I want to do in December, as well as getting started for next year. Can't believe we're there already doing that. So anyway, that is my update for now. Do you see that guy out there? We don't see deer very often here, actually. He's just staring at me. Like, what you gonna do, lady? I guess it's a she. I don't see any antlers. Nope. There she goes. So I finished making my pies. I make pies for our neighbors, plus for our Thanksgiving dinner. So this is a new recipe I tried, a lemon crumb pie. And I'm going to be giving it away, but there was a little bit extra of the batter, so I was able to taste it. It's pretty good, and it's a unique kind of pie. It's almost like a sponge cake, kind of. And then this, I've made this before. This is really good, a mocha pie. I'm going to top that with whipped cream. And then a fudge pie that's like a kind of brownie shaped like a pie, and it has nuts in it. Best served with ice cream. And then an apple pie with a streusel topping. And this is a cranberry custard pie, which I was so irritated because I inadvertently put the lid on top of it before it cooked completely, so then it collected this condensation on the top. So annoying. But that is a delicious and beautiful pie. And then this is a caramel pie, which again is going to be topped with whipped cream. And it looks like not much because that's kind of a bland color, but it's pretty tasty. So these are my pies. These are my sticky buns. This is something that we made all the time growing up. It's a family tradition. I don't know where my mom found the recipe, but at some point she started making them, and then now all of us, me and my siblings, we make them every year at Christmas. And I decided to make them every year at Thanksgiving. And I like to make them with sourdough. I use yeast as well, but I do use sourdough. I think it makes a really nice fluffy dough that's so delicious. On this particular time, the glaze turned out perfectly. It doesn't always, but look at that. So delicious. It's Thanksgiving Day. The day is going wonderfully. The pacing has been nice. Like, I've been busy doing things. Yesterday was very busy making all those pies and sticky buns and all that stuff. But also, I had time to sit and relax. I had time last night to sit and read. I was on Lucy's reading sprints. So that was fun to be able to just have some downtime in the midst of, working hard and doing stuff. So it's been a nice mix. And this morning is also a nice mix. We're supposed to be at my sister's house in a few hours. I need to make mac and cheese and green bean casserole. And I need to bake up some rolls, but the dough is ready for that. So minor things. But last night I finished reading A Love Restored by Kelly Goshorn during the sprints. And let me start at the beginning and say what I really enjoyed about this book, and then a couple of things that threw me off from giving it a full, 4 or 5 stars. So I did love the strong faith elements, very strong. I really enjoyed that. Nowadays, and I don't fault Christian writers for this necessarily. I understand a lot of times the intent and the purpose. I don't think that a story has to specifically reference God, the Bible, etc., in order to be very Christian. And I think a really strong Christian story can be told without being direct. So I don't think it's necessary for all Christian fiction to specifically reference scripture passages or whatever. However, when it can be appropriately used in the context of the story, in which case I think in this book, I think it is, like it flows naturally from, in conversations with people and like their things they're thinking about, whatever, like it works in this story, in this type of story. So for those of you who are looking for that kind of really strong Christian faith, it's definitely here in this book. Also, I looked up the publishing company. It's called the Pelican Publishing Group, I think. And they also have, they have a couple of imprints. This one is the Prism something or other imprint. So I was looking through their website, and it seems like they're very, like their goal is to have the gospel be very prominent in their stories. So if you're looking for a good, strong Christian fiction publishing company, I would check them out. So this particular book, I liked definitely strong faith elements. The other thing, as I already mentioned, I really loved the sense of humor that was just woven throughout the story. That made it really enjoyable. And I liked the characterization was pretty good for the most part, with a caveat to that I'll address in a minute. I love this setting because it's in the area where I live. Things that happen in this book aren't historically accurate, but like 100%, but it's that framework kind of things that were happening historically in the 1870s in this area of Virginia. And so even though these specific events did not occur, like this sort of stuff was, definitely happening. So anyway, the girl is teaching at a freedmen's school, and then there's like Ku Klux Klan stuff going on. Anyway, that kind of stuff. That's part of the storyline. And all that I really enjoyed. So all of that was big plus for me. And so I really recommend the book. The one thing that I strongly did not like, many other people loved about this book. So it's obviously a very personal thing, and this may be something you would really like. So I want to mention it. The main character, the female character, she is overweight in this story, which I don't have a problem with that. Like, it doesn't ever bother me when I'm reading a book, like if the person is skinny and beautiful and gorgeous, whatever, or they're not. Like, it doesn't, like that. Like, to me, I just take it as it comes. It is what it is, So it doesn't bother me if they're realistically beautiful, and it doesn't bother me if they're average looking. Like, I just take that as it comes, whatever. What bothered me was the way that became part of the plotline in the storyline. It just put so much emphasis on it, too much, in my opinion. And it was almost obsessed over. And I don't want to spoil anything, but that mere fact, the fact that she was overweight, influenced the plot. And the plot took a couple of turns based solely on that fact that I just had a hard time accepting as being realistic in the way that it was done in the book. Now, that's me. When I read through the reviews on Goodreads, that actually seemed to be what many people appreciated about the book. They really appreciated how Kelly Goshorn handled that aspect of the story. So you might really like that. But it was a drawback for me. It was a big drawback, mostly because of the way it affected the things that happen in the story. So this is a romance, right? You have the third act conflict where, you know, the couple gets separated over something. And to me, it was really, really very thin. And it involved the whole overweight aspect of stuff. It was very, very thin. And while it was used as a tool to help both characters learn and grow, like for character development, and that part was good, but the actual things that happened, I wasn't on board with. So other than that, it was good. This author, she has written, I think, a couple of novellas or short stories. Like, I think there's like in a collection that I want to read of I think it's also by other local authors, I want to say. So I want to read that. And I do want to check out this publishing company for other books that might be interesting. So worth a try. I mean, there's not anything like, you know, really deep or literary fiction or anything. That's not what we're looking for here. But I think just some good, solid, pleasant reading that is strongly Christian. So I'm going to be checking them out in the future and keeping them in my mind when I am looking for future books. Anyway, so that's my review of that. And now I am reading This Promised Land by Kathy Golke. I'm sorry, I think my sinuses are stuffed today. I'm sure I sound a little strange. Anyway, This Promised Land by Kathy Golke. I've only read a few chapters in, but it's really interesting so far. And what I love is that our main female character is a 65-year-old woman. And so that's very unusual. Usually you have, you know, like a 20-something, which again, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like I take things as they come. I take the book as it comes when it comes to that sort of thing. Like whoever the character is, you know, whatever, like superficially. I do also appreciate the fact that it's an older protagonist. And so if you are looking for that as well, there you go. You might like that. And there's a lot of like family history and family drama that's clearly happening in this story. I mean, it's still getting set up, and you know, some secrets and some, anyway, I'm looking forward to it, and it's getting me excited to go get our tree on Friday. I think we're gonna do that's tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, that's what I've got going on. And of course, today is Thanksgiving Day, and so I'm looking forward to the feasting. And now I need to go make the things I need to make. I mean, it's not a lot, but I need to get it done. So I will see you next time, and I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday and I just got back from my final foray into the world of retail, actually resale, because I went to the thrift store just now. I'm sitting in front of our tree that we just got and it's cracking me up because this tree goes halfway into our living room. It's a very wide on the bottom. Yeah, like that, like if it were like that, it would be perfect. But nope, it goes all the way. You never quite know, like when you're in the field and you are, you know, looking at the trees, like you never really know what it's going to look like. Well, okay, I have a hard time visualizing. Anyway, then you get it home and it's always a little bit of a surprise. Anyway, I have been reading the book, This Promised Land, and I'm about halfway through and I am just loving it and enjoying it thoroughly. That's the one that was inspired by this Christmas tree farm that we went to today. And just really loving it. Kathy Golke's writing is just perfect. This may end up being one of my favorite books by her. I think I already said that the protagonist is an older woman. She's like in her 60s. But all of the characters in this story, they all have like hurts and struggles that they're overcoming in their lives. And this book is going through like their healing process. And it's just, I'm reading it half the time with a lump in my throat because it's so moving and so heartfelt and so beautiful. And I'm really enjoying it. And there's also a bit of a thread of, not a bit, like there's a strong thread of the prodigal son parable running through. It's not a retelling, it's not like exactly copying that, but there's that idea that's present all the way through the story. And it's just really beautiful and I'm loving it. I want to wrap up this video by showing a few things that I picked up today and all of my Black Friday ramblings. Sorry, my hair, I can tell, is really crazy, and I feel like if I take off my thing here, it's going to be even crazier, so we're going to keep it like that. Okay, so at the thrift store, I picked up this book. Everything was half off, so this one was specially marked at $3, so I paid $1.50. A Mark Twain Christmas by Carlo DeVito, but it's 3 short stories by Mark Twain, I believe. And then I think Carlo DeVito's contribution is he collected them and then wrote an introduction and epilogue and acknowledgements, whatever. Probably some editorial elements. So anyway, I thought that was cool. And then this, may be a gift or it may be for me. I haven't decided, but I kind of want to read it perhaps before I gift it. Anyway, this is The British Booksellers by Christy Cambran. I do enjoy her books a lot. This one is definitely a gift. The Women of Chateau Lafayette by Stephanie Dray. I read America's First Daughter by her, I think is what it was called, and that was really good. Great. I love biographical novels. This one follows 3 generations, I think in the same family, or at least people who lived in this house, Chateau Lafayette. Starting with Adrienne Lafayette, who was the wife of the Marquis de Lafayette. So then this is a 2025 release, right? I went to McKay, by the way, and I wiped out most of my Pango book shop, by the way, and I'm starting over from scratch, just FYI. And not quite from scratch, but almost. Anyway, so with my credit, I bought some things. Then I got this. This is a 2025 release, To Love a Beast, Once Upon a Time in Texas by Karen Whittemire. Beauty and the Beast retelling, it looks like, set in Texas. So I can't believe that. And I love Karen Whittemire's writing. These are just great, fun reads. I also got this as a gift for my niece. I can show you because she doesn't watch my channel, I'm quite sure. This is Wish Tree by Catherine Applegate. Now, she really has been enjoying Kate DiCamillo recently, so I think that this would be something she would enjoy as well. Let me know what you think. But I got that for her. I'm so excited about this one. I love this book, but I don't have my own copy. I'm pretty sure I borrowed it from the library when I did read it, because I've read a hard copy, but it was not mine. And I got this at Ollie's. And $5. I have Caroline by the same author. And so both of those books I really loved. Marmee is so good. Highly recommend. And for January, Epistolary January, I can recommend this one. It's in journal entries, so it's a journal format, fits one of the prompts. Can't go wrong. And then for two of my sisters, I hope they don't watch this video. One of them sometimes watch most of my videos, so I hope she's not watching. If you do, just forget. Okay, so I have two sisters who play Words with Friends together, and I got these books at Ollie's to give them 2-letter words. And it's just really cute format. Like, it's just fun. And so these drawings. Funny. Anyways, so I got that as to go with their gifts. It's not a gift in and of itself, but just a fun little kind of guide gift for them. I also got, but I don't know where it is, and I do know where it is. Ticket to Ride is my favorite game, and at McKay's they had Ticket to Ride New York, so it's the subway system in New York version of the game. And so we're going over to my sister's house to eat Thanksgiving leftovers, so I'm gonna bring this with and play it there. So I hope I can convince them to play it with me, because I really want to play this game. All right, so that is a wrap for my Thanksgiving week. Weekly wonderings and wanderings. Let me know in the comments how your Thanksgiving was, and if you celebrate Thanksgiving, if you are American, and if you did any Black Friday shopping, if you got any good book deals, let me know, and let me know any of your thoughts about what you're reading, what I'm reading, all the things. Let's chat in the comments, and I will see you next time.